I think when we first came out here, we had no interest in the oil and gas. We didn't realize how they were going to affect us in what we wanted to do, which was just start a very small cow-calf operation. And so I think we got involved because uh, of, we finally realized what their impact on us was. We had no idea to start with.
Oil and gas overlaid us enough impact after a couple of years that we just had to start really paying attention to it, because things that we were fixing that took a year to fix, they took out in 15 minutes. And so we began to look away from our goal, our life goal, and just to deal with the daily impact of oil and gas. Constant activity, traffic, and what comes from that, dust and trash and interruption, nuisance, uh, around the clock, the surface damage, building new locations, bringing in the rigs, uh, the industrial waste that's caused by that, both in the drilling process, greatly in the drilling process, and then on for the next 30 years in the production process. So those impacts were at every level: your surface, your health, what you smelled, what was uh, given to you, their trash thrown out in the form of a toxic chemical in the air, and their trash thrown out in sound, which comes from the engines that they run night and day, producing the well, called compressors. That's just trash that they throw out, in addition to the huge focused trash of millions of gallons of waste, drilling waste that they bury on your ranch. We were almost the frog in the pan of water, where you just it just heats up around you and the poor frog boils to death. And we were in that, fighting them in a conventional way, wrestling, struggling, compromising, everything we could from about 2002 to 2007. That we were constantly arranging the deck chairs on the Titanic as our ranch was just being consumed, and all the effects amplified uh, in two ways: by volume. There's many more effects, but they were amplified as we had increased learning about what the destructive nature of it was. So that something like Jane says, that was just the dust that you're sort of used to in the Southwest. Well, how much of that is actually caused by the roads and the oil and gas traffic, and what does it do, and what happens because of it? So those effects were amplified, and they crescendoed in 2007, and these two frogs jumped out of the pot of boiling water. And in order to do that, we had to set aside our goals, and couldn't run a cattle operation and dedicate ourselves full time to dealing with the oil and gas impacts, and hope for change unless we devoted ourselves to it. So we engaged at that point in kind of a do or die framework, and sold the cattle, and cashed in a life insurance policy to access money, and began to devote ourselves full time to trying to change what was happening. Our success took the form of the Open Space Pilot Project, which was the result of all of our informing, our research, our comparing to other gas fields, our study of what was possible in not in the future after we land on Mars, but now. we're constantly concerned, disappointed, terrified about the progress of fossil fuels globally and right here on Devil Springs Ranch. I think the concerns are heightened as climate change gets worse, as our little universe is more and more impacted.
It is a limited resource, and once we won't see it, but future generations will be around, and when the oil field is abandoned, when they've reached the limit, are they going to be out here spending money to fix what they've destroyed? I doubt it. You know, you can see wells that have been abandoned years ago that still haven't been revegetated. So once they do abandon the field, what is it going to look like?
Our advice for anyone that is impacted by oil and gas is to determine first, how are they impacted? Is it a lease that can be protested or stopped, or in the first place? That's the very best thing. Don't drill. Don't drill. If you have the option, hope, or prayer of not drilling, then do that. And that happens. You can get that stopped, get the BLM or the minerals management people to look at that and determine that's not a good idea. And that's the best thing that can ever happen, is if the well is not drilled in the first place. But to do that, you need to inform yourself and engage, just the same as you do if you're in an established field like Jane and I are, where it's been being drilled for 60 years. Then you need to inform yourself. Maybe that means creating your own data because it doesn't exist as we did, and then engage. The engagement is whether you are really going to be committed. And I felt that Jane and I were. We thought we would die if we didn't win. So with your back against the wall, with you can find a great commitment, which is where we were. And so we stopped dreaming the dream that we wanted to live. We gave up a slug of our retirement money and tried to make that engagement worthwhile. And we had so many lucky breaks there. We were retired. We could do that. We knew people. We by former association or education or whatever. So we had many breaks and many people that helped us. But you have to engage in an informed basis, regardless of the issue, and that's my advice for everyone, universal.